Hi, Joseph here, and welcome to another episode of Scout Smarts. Today's episode is about orienteering. Now, orienteering might sound like a long and fancy word, but what it describes is pretty simple. Orienteering is the practice of using a map and a compass to find where you are, where you want to go, and the location of just about anything. Now, it may seem like a map and a compass are not necessary in today's society, what with GPS on everybody's phones and all kinds of electronic devices. But there are still plenty of reasons why knowing how to read a map and use a compass could be very important in a tricky situation. Today, we're going to learn how to read a map and how to use a compass. Now let's get started.
Hey y'all, I'm Isaac Hagberg. I'm a Troop 19 Eagle Scout and I help run the orienteering course out at Dawson Lake. So Joe has me talking about why maps are cool and why we still need them in the day and age of phones and GPSs. So I can think of 3 really good reasons for you to still know how to orienteer. So one, when you go to the zoo, the museum, the park, the mall, they have these kiosks and they have maps on them. You want to know what's going on so you can find your way around. 2, if you want to do any serious backpacking or adventuring later on in life, this is a skill that you need to have. Your phone can't last 2 weeks on its battery, even with a battery pack. So you want this backup plan. And 3 is honestly just having a backup plan because your phone will fail at some point and you got to have those skills. All right, so your family's planning on a bike trip in the city of Bloomington. You've got this map here with the title Historic District City of Bloomington Comprehensive Plan. So we've got the right map. We're in Bloomington at least. And over here, to start understanding what's on the map, we'll look at the legend, which will tell us what the colors and icons mean throughout it. So we've got like the Franklin Square Historic District, which is the green one. So we can kind of see some key points on this map. And another important part that's down in the legend is the scale. So if I want to estimate the distance, say I'll just use my fingers or a string, and I'll start stacking those things up and figure out, hey, I've got 3,000 feet for the first leg of my trip. So once you get going, the first thing you want to do is orient your map to your direction of travel. So what I mean by that is if I'm going to be walking north down Clinton Street, I want my map facing north so everything looks as is. If I'm walking south down Clinton Street, I want to flip the map upside down so that something that's left on the map is also left for me on the bike. And so I'm not trying to flip over stuff in my mind and get myself all confused. So the last map was a pretty simple just city diagram with all the roads. Other maps you'll be using if you're going backpacking or adventuring will be a topographical map. And on these, another thing you'll need to look for over by the legend will be the contour interval. So you know every time you cross one of these squiggly lines that you'll see on a topographical map, you've gone up or down 10 feet, which is the contour interval for this hand-drawn sketch. So now, if I'm on a hilltop and I cross over one of these lines, down 10 feet, down 20, down 30, down 40, if these lines are super duper close to each other, I'm looking at a cliff and I can't really walk over that. If I'm looking at them really far spread out, then I'm walking over a plain. If I'm headed towards a stream, this means that I'm heading down. If I'm heading towards a hilltop, that means as I cross, I'm going up in feet. All right, so some parts of the compass that we'll see. This is the needle with the red and white ends. This is the bezel or the dial. And this is the direction of travel arrow. And this will be important. All right, using a compass. So the needle on the red end of the needle always points north. The south end always points south. And then, you know, to the left of that is west. To the right of that is east. So now, if I want to find or use my compass to start traveling east, I need to know that a compass has 360 degrees. And a fourth of that would be east, so at 90 degrees. Or on this compass, it's labeled with a fat old E. I'm going to turn the dial until that white line along the E lines up with the direction of travel arrow. Then what I'm going to do is line up the red part of the needle with the N or the north heading on the compass. So then I'll turn until we get there. Then I know east is straight along this arrow, which is the direction of travel, and I'd start walking this way. So now another example, if I want to go west, I'll turn the dial to west or 270 degrees, and I'm going to turn my own body until the red part of the needle is pointing at the north on the dial. So I'll turn, 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 boom, got it. So now I'll be walking this way. All right, so now an easy mistake you could make with your compass, you could be doing everything right, and then you've got a piece of metal next to it screwing up your needle. So look at that. So if I've got a needle pointing, or metal next to my needle, it's not gonna be pointing north, it's gonna be pointing at my metal object. So get it away from your body, away from anything that's metal. Don't lay it on top of a table because there could be metal in the legs. Get it flat and away from you. No metal. So now using a compass to get a direction from your map. So I'm gonna go from point A to point C. First thing I'm gonna do is line up the edge of my compass along those 2 points. Make sure my direction of travel arrow is A to C. If I have it backwards, I'm gonna get the wrong heading and start walking in the wrong direction. So A to C, edge of the compass, direction of travel arrow is A to C. All right, now behind the needle on the compass are these orienting lines. And on your map, there's also these parallel north-south lines. Make sure that these lines are as parallel or as lined up as you can with those lines on the map. So now I've got my heading, which is about 132 degrees. So now if I'm ready to start walking, I'll pick it up. I'll turn until I have the needle facing north. Then I start walking that direction.
Learning how to use a map and compass may seem a bit old-fashioned to you, but it's a very useful skill to know if you get lost. Maps can help you find your way in just about every place on Earth that there's a map of, from the wilderness to the city. If you learn how to read a map and to use a compass, you'll know where you are just about all the time. And that's all for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.